Broadcasting from Baltimore, Maryland, home of crab cakes, Natty Boh, and The Wire, this is 5x3 Radio, where strength is for everyone. I'm your host, Emily Sokolinski, owner of 5x3 Training, along with one of my brilliant coaches, Rebecca Fishburne. Each week, Rebecca and I will discuss the ins and outs of strength training, why there's a no one-size-fits-all approach, and why strength is so important in our daily lives. Thanks for spending some time with us today, and now, on with the show. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first podcast. I'm here with Rebecca Fishburne, my coach at 5x3 Training, and this is something completely different than what we've ever done before. We talk a lot at the gym about training and training people and just strength in general and fitness in general, and I decided I wanted to do something more than just talk to Rebecca because I talk to Rebecca a lot, and I wanted to get out what we talk about with other people. So I asked her if she would join me for a podcast, and after twisting her arm multiple times, she agreed to do this with me because it's much more fun to banter with somebody than talk, by myself. And prior to starting this first episode, Rebecca made a really great observation about what I wanted this podcast to be about. And I wanted to let her talk about that observation because at first it was going to be a podcast for women. But the more I thought about it and the more I talked to my husband, Diego, that's not really who we are. I mean, yes, we are female strength coaches. Yes, we work with a lot of women, but we are more than that. And I think that the podcast we want to create focuses on the every person, right? Everybody, every man, every woman who wants to get stronger, who wants to be healthier, who wants a better lifestyle. And Rebecca, you mentioned about Everyman, the play Everyman, and I thought maybe you want to, right? So talk a little bit about that because I think that's a really great segue into what we want to talk about in our first podcast. That I mentioned, strength is for everyone, and the everyman is that person.
Yeah. So I mean, that everyman character got introduced in for the first time in a 15th century morality play. The idea is just that it's a character that anyone in the audience could relate to. Someone who's just an average individual who doesn't really seem to have any real spectacular defining qualities. Someone that the viewer or the reader, if you're reading the play, can emotionally relate to, without really having to do a lot of mental acrobatics to see how there's similarities between the life of the character and the life of the viewer. And then that character became sort of a standard in different mediums. And if you're thinking about, kind of more recent films, Tom Hanks is a character who's generally portrayed as an everyman in a lot of the different movies that he's made. So someone that you can easily relate to, who doesn't seem to be extraordinary and yet gets placed in a journey, comes out different on the other end of it. And I think that's really what happens when you start to engage with a barbell. It's, just regular, ordinary people who work at a desk all day, teachers, nurses, moms, dads, just regular, everyday people who, through their interaction with the barbell, through their strength training, face a lot of different challenges. Sometimes they're emotional, sometimes they're mental, you just don't feel like training, sometimes they're physical challenges, the weight is heavy, but coming out the other end of that.
Right, and I really like that, we do see that all the time. I mean, we don't work with professional athletes, and we don't work with even recreational, young athletes. We work with maybe recreational athletes, people who maybe, run marathons or who play, flag football on the weekends or, ultimate frisbee, mountain bikers. But these are, you're right, these are people who just are general fitness and they want to feel better about themselves and they want to get stronger. And the the barbell is, the main tool that we use at the gym. It's not to say that we don't use other exercise, pieces of exercise equipment, the kettlebell, the dumbbell, but the barbell, of course, is the one tool that anyone can use. And that's sometimes surprising to people. They don't think that they belong under the bar, if I can say that that's only for powerlifters, or that's only for athletes, that's only for strongman. But it isn't. I mean, it is a tool that anyone can use. It comes in all shapes and sizes, and I think it's pretty surprising to see people who use it for the first time, and then the sense of the confidence and the self-esteem that comes along with that when they start to realize their potential, that they have a lot of potential there.
They start to re-envision themselves. See a lot of different possibilities there that they didn't even consider before.
Yeah, and so you're right, the change in themselves and how much that change affects their daily life and even into their work environment. So that idea of that everyman kind of going through that journey, coming to strength training, starting with the barbell, training for a few months into maybe years, and then seeing the person just morph into this new being who was very intimidated, maybe shy, nervous in the beginning, and then a year later, nothing affects them. The weight on the bar doesn't affect them. What they have to do that day doesn't affect them. Well, but you're right. When you sent me the graphic of with the hero's journey,
and then the thing is, you get to that top, and the arrow just keeps continuing. You just keep going. There's always a different challenge that you're going to face.
Right. And that's, I feel like I talk about this a lot. That's life. Life isn't easy. People come to the barbell, they want to be stronger. And those who embrace it and kind of embrace the fact that this is going to be hard, and when it gets hard, it gets more mentally challenging as much as physically challenging. And those who kind of stick with it see the benefit, and and then there are others who might step away from it or stop coming. And sometimes it's life and work, and sometimes it is just the mental challenge that maybe they're not ready for. Doesn't mean they're never going to be ready for it, but maybe at the time they're not ready for it. That's hard to sometimes to work with, because you might see the potential in that person more than they do. They see in themselves. I know you've mentioned that with some of your clients who you've worked with. Trusting themselves. You trust them, but they don't trust themselves. And that's the hard. Yeah.
Well, and it also, for someone just starting out, can be such a vastly different type of exercise from whatever they may have done before, or maybe somebody who's been inactive before. And where the person encounters that challenge in terms of barbell training varies. Like sometimes the challenge is even just initially envisioning themselves under the bar. Maybe they don't understand that there are different types of bars, that there's training bars, that there's women's bars, that there's safety bars, that there's lots of different types of barbells to help an individual get started, or to vary or modify training as needed as an individual continues with their training. But for people who are going out on the weekend for a run in the park or taking group fitness classes and have no understanding that there is a different type of barbell, that there are varieties of bars, that initial bit of just even envisioning themselves as a barbell athlete can be the challenge. Then as you continue cycling through the process, going out on an adventure, facing a challenge, coming back a changed person, that challenge changes. Sometimes it's, having the confidence in yourself that your coach has in you. Sometimes it's the challenge of discipline on a day that you just really don't feel like it, and then you have to fall back on habit. I had a couple clients this week talking about that a lot. Sometimes it's challenges of trying to fit the training into your real life, trying to find time or dedicated time or energy after a long work day, and that it's just constantly varying where that challenge is, but it's always showing up, facing the challenge, and coming out the other side a little bit different.
You mentioned, the different, that the barbell isn't always just that, straight bar that we think of that weighs, 20 kilos, that weighs 45 pounds, that it can be a variety of different shapes and sizes and weights, and that we don't start everybody, with that type of bar. But that also, I like the fact that, at the gym, and we do have quite a few specialty bars that we use, and we're not concerned with using them. We use them to keep the person training. And people can get bogged down in the type of, bar they're using, and well, this is the right way to train, this is the only bar to ever use, because if you're using this bar, you're not really training. Well, that's just a crock of, BS. I want to keep the person training. This is a general fitness person. This is an everyman, this is an every woman. And if they come in with an injury to their shoulder or to their knee or to their hip, but they still can train, they still want to train, we can keep them training using these various bars.
Yeah, that's reminding me, I'm thinking about, when you barbell train, there is definitely a place where you need rigidity. It is not in your mental process when you approach the idea of barbell training. You need to have some flexibility there in terms of how you get a person started. The rigidity for moving force, that's important.
Yeah, because they can't squat with my 45-pound bar or my 33-pound bar or even my 15-pound bar. Maybe they can't even squat the 10-pound bar. Definitely had a client who joined us a year ago, and she couldn't squat with the bar just yet. She had to start with body weight squats, and then she added some weight in the form of a dumbbell. And then from there, she was able to get under the bar. A lot of that was that was definitely physical, but also mental. I mean, that feeling of, I'm not that kind of athlete.
And also, I've had people too where they start with a lot of fear. They've experienced some kind of pain before, generally back pain, and they have a real mental hurdle that they have to get over first. They're afraid they're going to hurt themselves. You need to meet them where they are, show them that they can do the movement with a weight, with a little bit more weight. Oh, look here, this bar is a little bit easier way to hold the weight. Let's give it a try, and kind of help ease them into the process. But yeah, mental hurdles, physical hurdles, all of that.
Yeah. And I think that's the whole point of this podcast. This is kind of, I guess this would be considered our introduction to our new podcast. Yeah, but that's okay. I'm going to say this is our first episode, and this is to give people an idea of who are thinking, how we approach training a general population and a general public, and the kind of work that we think about doing with them and we want to do with them, but also understanding their limitations. And it could be not just a physical limitation, but a mental limitation. It could be the fact that they work a lot of hours, so they're going to be only limited to coming maybe twice a week, if that, even though we'd like them to come 3 times a week. And then not berating anybody when they miss a session, but encouraging them when they come back, to get back on the bar, to get back to it. It's okay. Work happens. Life happens. I say that all the time to people. Life happens. Children happen. Vacations happen. Vacations happen. You can't control a lot of things in your life. You can control what you do at the gym. And since you can control that, trying to find a good method to train is ideal. That's why we like the barbell. But we're not opposed to other training modalities, of course. But that we're gonna go there first to build strength. But
the whole idea of people, the everyman, the regular non-competitive athlete with a real life who's just trying to be a little bit stronger and a little bit better quality of life, they have a lot of time constraints. They've got limited gym time. So how do you use that most effectively and most efficiently? How do you use that time in a way so that you can make progress instead of just doing something random that keeps you, maybe a little sore, maybe you pull something one day, that kind of thing, not really ever moving forward or seeing any results from the effort that you're putting in. And a lot of people are, some people are process people where they want to just go and move, and the moving and the letting off steam is important. And other people are really outcome oriented, and they want to be able to see that they've made progress, that the time that they spent in the gym was worth their while. And, we've talked before about if the goal is to lose weight, well, you need to focus on the nutrition, and that's where you need to invest your time. If you're in the gym, you can see progress in terms of strength gains, but whatever the goal is, if you're an outcome-based person, you want to be sure that you've been using that time wisely.
Right. And right now, in the current situation that we're in, because this is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020, and this is the 7th week of our, the week 7 of our shelter in place here in Maryland. Many of our clients, many of our members have not been able to utilize the barbell, but that doesn't keep them from doing something, and that hasn't kept us from trying to program them to be as inefficient as possible. As Diego and I have talked about with our Instagram Live, the workouts should be, they're not going to resemble completely your training under the bar, but they should have some semblance of progression, right? Not just random things. And over time, my members who have kind of been trying to do their own thing have finally reached out to me and said, I need a program, because we all need structure, and a program gives you that structure so that you're not just randomly doing exercises, but there's a thought process to what you're doing. And where in the gym with the barbell, you're trying to work as efficiently as possible. Here, the inefficient is just because you don't have those heavy weights, so you have to kind of, in a sense, trick your body into working as well as hard as you would work in the gym under the bar. But the structure, the training structure, should remain the same. And people are even busier now, I think, than they were when they were working when we weren't in a shelter in place, in a lockdown, because they're able to sit at their computer for hours on end, right? Or they have children at home that they're trying to keep, schooling going, or they have just demands from other, maybe other relatives, or who knows what it is. But people, I think, are definitely in a sense of they're busy, they're trying to keep everything straight, and then there's this whole you've got to exercise too. Well, sometimes you need to just give yourself a break and not worry about that. But if you have a program, if you've been training, it helps to keep you going.
Well, and it also provides structure. I was joking around the other day that the only way I know what day of the week it is because I still hate heavy squat on Tuesday. Yeah. So that kind of structure in this really weird, sort of unstructured work from home environment is essential.
Yeah, Diego said the same thing. He only knows what day it is because it's, deadlift day. So, it's Thursday. Yeah, I think it helps, right? And, I guess we're staying with the theme today in our first episode of just training the everyman. You and I are able to adapt to this new training normal. We've been able to work with our clients to either keep them going with their barbell training, or maybe we had to adapt their programs to meet the demands of with their work at home right now and their lives at home, and even the equipment that they have. And that's huge, because the general person is not going to, you have your hardcore lifter who's going to keep training no matter what, or find a way, but then you've got your general lifter who, they come to you and they like to train with barbell, but now they don't have it. Now what do? You want to keep them. You want to keep them motivated. You want to keep them moving. So you adapt. You transition. What do you have at home? I can put a program together for you. How many days a week do you have? 2 days, 3 days? Tell me what you have. And that kind of mindset on our part, and other coaches who have that mindset, is huge, because, that you're working, again, like you said earlier, you're working with the person, and you're not working against them, throwing your hands up and saying, well, I can't help you.
Right. It's a matter of like adapting the program, adapting the implements available to suit the individual. That's what's going to get them in the door, get them interested, get them started with training. If you insist that the individual has to adapt to a program that's already been established with particular types of bars, you're going to lose people that way.
Right. And I don't want to lose, my goal through all this is to not lose any of my members. I mean, I think if I lost any members, it's more just, life has unfortunately maybe transitioned to, something different. But everybody has seen what we've gone through, what we've been able to do. And that's huge, because that means they know that we don't have just one idea of what, fitness or strength is. And this will be in obviously our next podcast. So we talk a little bit more about how we came to this. We our backgrounds are broad, and we've never gotten away from those. We've kind of always kept those with us, even though the barbell is a huge part of our life now, and what we coach and what we teach, we still have those other fitness aspects of our life that we can lean on as needed and use and utilize, because I think that is all part of that journey for people. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's not all your eggs in one basket approach.
This is kind of out of place, but you were talking about the evolution of the idea for this podcast, and how you and I had talked initially about it being female trainees, really probably mostly because you and I are female coaches, and a lot of what we talk about in the gym are issues or concerns that we have as, female barbell trainees, or that we see among our female clients. But I was thinking about that, and actually most of my clients are male. So it's like you have a little bit different situation there, where you've got a large group of female clients. I have, I'd say probably 1/3 female, 2/3 male clients. And I'm not working with those clients in a group setting. And I think that's a lot of what attracts some female trainees, is some companionship, or a community, somebody else who's doing the same thing that they can share that experience with. And I don't know, maybe stereotypically, maybe guys aren't as concerned about that. But I think, in the training that I do, that I provide for people outside of 5x3, I think that's probably one of the reasons why I have more male clients that way than female clients. Because I think that community is an important aspect of what a lot of times women are looking for in an exercise experience or a training experience.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I was talking to Diego about my Zoom classes that I'm running right now, because, we can't get to the gym. And one of my women noticed that it's all females showing up for the live sessions. And I asked him, I said, I wonder, what is it about, why don't men join in on these type of sessions. And it is that group training mindset that women like the community, they like training with other women, they like training with other people, they like talking to people, and men are more individualized, But then there's CrossFit. Yeah, but then there's the CrossFit classes, and CrossFit incorporates, has men and women doing that, but it's a timed workout, and the coach is off to the side and not really involved, maybe counting reps or something like that, or walking around, but not really, you're doing the workout, and it's very competitive. How quickly can you get through this workout? So I guess that's where the men like training in that kind of group environment, because it's a competitive aspect. There are people there, but she's not guiding the class. I'm not really listening to what the instructor is saying, the coach is saying. It's my workout, and I'm going to beat that guy next to me. Talking to one of my coaches who used to do a lot of CrossFit, and that's what he said was the competitive aspect. But I was speaking to just that the other day, the difference between men and women in regards to training, and it is. You're right. Who do we get when we get our one-on-one sessions, like our clinics? 95% are men who reach out to us for a session. I have had a couple women contact us, but that is, that's a 5%, maybe not even that much.
I'm trying to think through, the clients that I have now who are female are either people who already tended to work out on an individual basis, where the camaraderie of doing something in a class environment wasn't an essential piece of their exercise experience anyway, or they are women whose husbands do barbell training, and the husband has urged them, come on, this would be really good for you, and there's some kind of recognition of the fact that a husband coaching a wife doesn't always work out so well.
Right. I'm interested in the fact that there quite a few times at my gym, we've had couples come in for training, and it's the husband or boyfriend who's contacted me. And he wants to get into it, and my girlfriend or my wife, she might want to come along and check it out. And oftentimes the wife or girlfriend will stay, and the husband or boyfriend just disappear. Something, Yeah,
but see, that's I'm talking about what you have at 5x3 is a really nice community with a lot of female lifters. And I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting. But how does that happen? They come in with and it's they're gung ho, and the wife is, she's interested, and then she gets into it, and he kind of slowly, and she sticks around and just takes off. And sometimes it's I think the husband kind of goes, oh, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. I don't know, but maybe it's because there is that group aspect. But I have a lot of guys who love the group aspect, who love they like seeing other people. They like training with everybody. They wouldn't do it otherwise. I think that's a big part of it. So it's I think it's very individual. I think you have to kind of come to that on your own. You either like training with other people and being in that environment, or you don't. And yes, women are going to be definitely more apt to train in an environment like that than on their own, than not. That's why it's kind of unfortunate that that Facebook page, the Barbells Facebook page, kind of dissolved, because I think that was a place where women who weren't in an environment like at the gym at 5x3.
Yeah, there's other pages that are filling that space. Rory's got one, but my sense with that was that the woman who originally started that barbells page was at first thoroughly invested in the starting strength approach, and then moved away from that as like a rigid approach to barbell training, and felt that it was disingenuous to continue. But, the PRS page is like open to lots of different types of training. I mean, I don't mean that. Lots of different types of barbell training. So sumo deadlift as well as conventional deadlift, high bar squat as well as low bar squat, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what we're talking about here is not doing a one size fits all and trying to shove people, round people into a square peg. Right. I mean, right. Because that's kind of what you do when you, and I think this will be for obviously another podcast about how we came to, to the barbell program, to starting strength, and became coaches of the method. But we both use this, method as a stepping stone for people. I mean, it is a good stepping stone. It really does help get people in the mindset of training, of some simplicity, of movement, learning a movement skill, and it gives them a sense of what's what I'm looking for, consistency.
Yeah, the other thing I think about it too is it gives a person an interesting sense of body awareness, which might, that can be a two-edged sword sometimes, but like we live in a pretty virtual world, especially more so now where people are working from home. And so it's very easy when you're in a Zoom meeting or when you're watching movies or when you're, doing work on the computer to become disassociated with your body in a way that you're confusing hunger and thirst and movement cues that your body is giving you. So like your body's restless from sitting for a long time, you mistake that for I'm hungry, or you're tired, you mistake that for I'm hungry, or that kind of thing. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I need to go to sleep, but I find myself staring at the pantry shelves. but like that sort of disassociation with your body, I think, is something that is a modern phenomenon. And barbell training puts you back in touch with your body in, a very, I don't know the right word, I'm running out of words, but like in a very meaningful way, like the difference of an inch or a half an inch in where you put your body in space can have a huge difference in whether you're balanced in your movement or not, and you relearn how to connect with your body in really meaningful ways. I mean, Jan talked about that one time when Sully was there and interviewing in regards to barbell training and aging. And she talked about how barbell training, especially for an older individual, having that sort of communication with your body that's positive, what your body can do. But that sort of body awareness is something that I think, people lose as they get older, lose as they get more engaged with technology, lose as they get more involved in their career or their job. And barbell training, unlike any other kind of like group fitness class, or even, casual run or bike ride, puts you in tune with how your body works. And
yeah, I mean, Diego talks about that when the one programming workshop we did, which we hope to do again, that, skill is number one. I mean, when you're first learning the movement, you're learning a new skill, right? And then once your body understands that movement and learns that skill, well, now you can start getting stronger. You don't get stronger on day one when you're first learning how to squat or press or deadlift. You're learning the skill. You're learning how to execute the movement.
Your brain's learning how to talk to your body.
Right. And, that has, and the same thing applies to any type of movement, any type of exercise, not just barbell training. One of my clients online right now, she has no access to her gym, so we had to reprogram her using the equipment she had, dumbbells, kettlebells. Well, I'm teaching her how to do a split squat, and I'm teaching her how to do an RDL, and I'm teaching her how to do a proper push-up. And after how many weeks, you can see the difference. Her body has now learned that skill. Well, now she's going to be able to add more weight, do more reps, but it takes time. It takes time to learn that. So yes, it teaches your body. I mean, I think with the barbell, because it is just like with a dumbbell or kettlebell, it's a freestanding, tool. Your body can move in many different ways. It is one of the better tools to use to start,
Yeah, I mean, you can more efficiently move more weight, but it also gives you more honest feedback. So a little difference in where you're positioned in space, barbell's going to tell you.
And I think it surprises people when they start this, like we said earlier, that they can do it. It's not as intimidating as they thought it was going to be. And that's what is very exciting for them and exciting for us, because that means they're going to want to train. They're going to want to continue to train. They're going to want to continue to see where they can go from here. Their first introduction to barbell training should be a very positive introduction, right? They should walk away feeling good. It doesn't always. I mean, I think it's sometimes it's hard and it can be very frustrating for people on their first day. But if you have a good coach, as you know, I think we do. We have you, we have Craig, Jay. We have coaches who are very understanding and very encouraging and very supportive, and also just very good at getting people to understand the movement. They have empathy for the frustration that they might be going through, and they can use that to help them see the bigger picture. So like next time you come in, you'll be able to do this. And typically they, just by saying that to the person, they come in the next time and they can, because their coach told them they could. And that's a huge part of helping people, learn their bodies better, is to have somebody who can instruct them and give them the right cues, and speak to them the right way. That's that's everything. You hear too many horror stories of trainers yelling at their clients or screaming at them, and that doesn't help anybody. What do we focus on today? I know it was kind of a mishmash of a lot of things, but I think the big picture. I think the big picture here is that we are trying to reach everybody. We want to be able to reach everyone, and if people have questions for us about training, about barbell training, or about just fitness in general, we want to be able to answer those questions. So I think we'll definitely have, hopefully, a question and answer episode where people can, if they listen to us, can send us questions, and we can answer them. I think that's a good start for our first episode here.
Yeah, it's not the way, I guess, I was walking the dog and I was like, yeah, that everyman thing. It's like, that's like exactly who we're trying to reach. So, it's a relatable journey. You're the hero of your own barbell journey.
Yep. Nope. And I use that word. I use that word a lot. I use it a lot. It's perfect. Yeah, no, I think it definitely gives people an idea of, okay, this is what this podcast is going to be about. It's going to be about me. Yeah, it's going to be about me.
Or Tom Hanks. If Tom Hanks is the everyman, who's the everywoman actor?
Oh, that's a good question, because I'm trying to think of like Julia Roberts. Is she like, because she kind of she embodies kind of, would she be that? Trying to think of a woman. Someone who's like kind of can portray a lot of different, I think Julia Roberts seems to come to mind. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Thanks for listening to 5x3 Radio with Emily and Rebecca. If you like our show and want to know more about 5x3 training, please visit us at www.5, that's F-I-V-E, the letter X, the number 3.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. To learn more about Rebecca, please visit her website, cornerstonestrengthmaryland.com. Thanks for listening and have a great week.